I'm leaving the office. Friday night. Yeah. What time am I getting out of here? I don't even know what time it is. It is, damn it, 6:30. I thought I was leaving early. Golly, I don't even pay attention to the clock anymore. I was doing some stuff. Okay. Yep. All right, good. Don't want to smash the truck. Need to get the truck cleaned this week. Anyway, so I'm leaving the office. This morning I started off my day and I was watching a guy who I like. It's the DUI guy. He's on YouTube, right? Nothing bad to say about him. Seems like a nice guy. Knows and understands DUI cases. I think he's out of Kentucky. We actually have the same instructor. Both the DUI guy and myself became DUI instructors for NHTSA a few years back. Not together, not the same day, but I'm aware that he is a DUI instructor as I am. And there's not a lot of attorneys that go and become DUI instructors. It's just those of us that get tired of police officers saying, based on my training and experience. So first I bought the book, then I started asking questions, and the book was like $700. And then they changed. Now the book doesn't cost $700. But anyway, so I was watching a DUI guy, and he does this video about all of these things, that the secrets of the courtroom. And listen, the number one thing he said, and I'm giving him props, right? So check him out, the DUI guy. Seems like a good guy. He says the number one thing is treat your clerks right, because clerks, not the judges, not the defense attorneys, not the public defenders, not the prosecutors, but the clerks run the courthouse. And there's a lot of truth to that, because they're the people behind the scenes, and there's some great clerks that I've dealt with in Broward, Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, the Keys. I've met a lot of nice people. But you got to kill those folks with kindness, because a lot of people crap on them. So that was the main thing that I agreed with him on the video. The rest of the video, there were some comments that I liked, but what I found is I wanted to take my ride home and tell you about the secrets of having a successful case, right? When you're in the criminal defense arena. The first thing, hey, what's up? The first thing that is important, do not represent yourself. It's almost a joke, folks, when people represent themselves pro se. I had some guy call me last week. He's like, how much for that? I was like, hey, it sounds like you know it, man. Go ahead and represent yourself. But you know what representing yourself gets you? Probation, jail, or prison. One of those three, guaranteed. Sometimes when I'm in court and I see someone that says they're going to go to trial, I'll write the date down just so I could go and watch the crash. It's just like, sorry, dude, I can't read and talk. I have a mounted camera, but my hands are on the wheel. I can't read up close without being distracted. So, text into the, email in or whatever, and I'll answer your question. But anyway, do not represent yourself pro se. There are motions, yes. Attorneys copy motions. Attorneys manipulate motions that have been used over and over to help them. Don't do that. You know why? Because Minette Massey, when I was at the University of Miami School of Law, told me, she was a civil procedure, and she wrote the book. She knew her stuff. She said, whatever you do in life, do not become a form attorney. What does she mean? She means don't take someone else's form and copy it and think it's going to be an all in all, that it's going to work for all things. No. I have made my own basic forms, but I change them for each case. Each case is fact specific, so it's important. You don't want to use some form you get off the internet, or the jailhouse lawyer, gave you some form that has the wrong law. I've seen it so many times. Pro se, either use the public defender or save your money. Right? Or sell something that you have a value, or barter with your attorney. My fence needs pressure washing and painting, and it's too damn hot for me to sit out there and do it. So you got a case, pressure wash, paint my fence. Maybe I'll work something out with you. Anyway, things that are important, and you're gonna laugh, right? What is important in a criminal case? First thing that you need to know is when you walk into a courtroom, be dressed properly. Yep, simple. Dressed, shirt and tie. You can get one. You can go the secondhand store. Dress nice. Ladies, dress nice. Don't dress like you go into a club. Men, dress in a shirt and tie and a jacket if you have it. You know why? Because when the judge doesn't know someone and they're dressed up, she thinks that they're the attorney or that they're the female attorney dressed in nice clothing. Do your best to dress up. Yes, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor. My name is. I understand, Your Honor. That's it. That's all you're saying. Your Honor. Yes, no. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. However you want to say it. Now, knowing the clerk, not the guy that's standing in the courtroom or sitting in the courtroom helping the judge out, but knowing the clerk system. You need to know wherever your case is in the country, there's electronic means. We all have computers and cell phones. You need to know how the clerk of court system works. Why is that important? You never miss a court date. You know when your attorney's filing things. You know when the state is filing things, right? If they file a motion to remove your bond, to vacate your bond, it's there, right? Because what happens? You're charged with one crime, you get a new charge, and the state's going to file a motion to revoke your bond. Wouldn't you want to know, have some heads up before the SWAT team shows up? Yeah, no one's going to go through there, jackass. So the person behind me honking, yes, I had a green light, but people were in the intersection. So anyway, know the clerk's system. Ask your attorney to show you how it works and play with it. Put your name in, your date of birth, you can figure it out. Every county has it. It's important to know. What else is important? When you are considering hiring an attorney, meet with 3 to 5 attorneys. You know how many people call me on a weekly basis? Look, I paid this guy $5,000. I paid this guy $10,000. 20. I just got hired on a case. The guy paid 30 G's, and hasn't spoken to his attorney for a year. Guess what happens? Hey, the case is going to close and you're going to go to prison. Yay! Oh shit! I better call Foley, and they called me. And now I'm fighting the case. But makes it a lot difficult when you hire me at the end of the case. Interview 3 to 5 attorneys. Don't rely on what your cousin told you. Oh, he helped my brother. Oh, he got my sister out of a traffic ticket. Big difference between a traffic ticket, folks, and doing misdemeanor and felony cases, and doing cases that are life felonies, punishable by life, death penalty cases, second-degree felonies, 15 years, third-degree felony, 5 years. Big difference between a traffic ticket and doing that. Just be aware, interview, because I get so many calls that they say, hey, I'm not happy with my attorney, there's no communication. Personality is part of the case, right? Can you get along, right? If you meet me and you go, I can't stand this guy Foley, don't hire me, right? Because if you don't like my personality, right, you don't know my work, right? You don't know the guy on the billboard. You don't know the guy that's got 100 reviews on Google. You don't know them. You don't know who wrote those reviews, right? Take the time to interview people. Ask them, hey, listen, on this kind of case, what would my options be? Would it be a diversion program? Would it be a plea? Do you think there's any motions to suppress? Do you think it's a trial case? Most attorneys, if you know what you're doing, you're gonna be able to say to the client, listen, I don't have the discovery yet, but I have the initial police report. I have what you've shared with me, and if what you've shared with me is correct, this is the way that I would lean towards the case. And then I give you options. My job as an attorney, give you option A, option B, option C, and you, the client, makes them. And obviously, if you ask for my opinion, which one I would do, I'll tell you, but I can't make the decision for you. So interview your attorneys. All right. I get so hyped up when I watch that video. It was like, all right. He made one other comment. He said, public defenders are good for more serious crimes, higher degree felonies. listen, you have a public defender that's handling a first-degree felony. They've probably been there, a while. Don't panic. Can I make a motion? I wouldn't do that on my own, buddy. Don't write your own motions. Oh, you know what? Don't write letters to the judge. My goodness. Why are people writing letters to judge? This is not fair. I didn't do it. It was really Tony. The judge, you know what it's called? It's called an ex parte communication. The judge goes, wait a second, is this from a defendant? Crumble up, and he throws it over to his JA. And you know what she does? She uncrumbles it, scans it, sends it to the clerk of court. If you're writing a letter to anybody, you shouldn't be. If a letter of character or something is used, it's usually used at the end of a case, after you've lost. So I can't tell you how many clients go, hey, Mr. Foley, I know this person, they're going to write me a letter, and my old professor and my old football coach and whatever. Hold on to your letters. When you got to write letters, it means you're losing and you're facing incarceration. We don't need to write letters beforehand, right? And I don't want to think about letters because that means that I'm having a loser mentality, and I don't have that, right? I'm in it to win it. And your attorney should be in it to win it too. But remember, we're as good as our facts. Another hot tip, when you're hiring an attorney, if he does real estate, tax, landlord-tenant, family law, divorce, criminal, personal injury, environmental, he's a jack of all trades, and it means he probably sucks at all of them. Find someone that does one or two practice areas. That's it, right? Michael Jordan couldn't play basketball and be a professional baseball player. There's a few people that can do it, but just be wary of the attorneys that have multiple practice areas. Okay, if it's a huge firm, maybe, but guess what? Criminal defense folks, it's usually 1 to 5 attorneys. It's pretty rare to see a criminal defense firm that has more than that. So be careful of the jack of all trades. Read reviews and go to the bar. Go to every state, Illinois, Florida, California, New York. They all have a bar, right? We have the Florida bar. You can look me up. Do I have complaints? Do I have people writing bad stuff about me? Type in negative reviews. Find negative reviews. The key is to find someone who knows what they're doing, who focuses in that that area of law, criminal, and that you can communicate with. You should not be scared of your attorney. You should not be scared to, I had a client that called me like a week ago. Actually, I called him, and what is the super lawyer ad stuff? Now, the super lawyer ad stuff is all garbage. All of that stuff is garbage. Right? I've gotten all of those awards. You know what it means? It means nothing. It means nothing. They're like, well, you're the 1%. Now, do I post them? Sure, right? Because some people don't know and some people aren't watching my videos. But winning this award, that award, you know what it means? Nothing. Why? Because you know what happens after you win the award? They want you to sign up and spend $300, $500, $700, $1,000. I think the only award that I ever got, I had 3 trials in a row, and they called it a hat trick. And I didn't even actually get the award. I got an honorable mention for getting three not guilties in a row. Maybe that kind of award. But you know what the awards are? They're mostly popular. I just got the ad. Someone's smiling, Steve there. I just recently got contacted by Fine Law, and they said, hey, I don't know. Hey, the super lawyer. And I was like, well, I could contact all 5 of my attorney friends and ask them to vote for me. And then I was like, that would be like begging for money on the corner. Nah, I'm good. You know what? If I get it one day, I get it one day. People vote. They vote for people that are popular. They vote for their friends, right? You see these people that have been practicing 2 years, 5 years, and they become super lawyers. At 2 years, now look, I was fighting hard, but I didn't know shit. I didn't know anything. I was learning, and I learned a lot, but I learned by making mistakes. So talking about fighting cases, and God, it's so much better when you fight the case. The one thing that the DUI guy said in this video, and I really liked it, he goes, make the prosecutor work for their conviction, right? Let's say you're going to represent yourself. Time served sucks. You never want time served. Oh man, but it's over. I just pay a fine and I'm done. No, it means you're convicted, and it means, at least in Florida, it's going to be on the record for the rest of your life. Do you really want to just do time served? Of course you don't. If you have a drug habit, do you want to be on probation? No. If you have mental health issues and you're bipolar and you go through depression, do you want to be on probation? No. I go out of my way. People have mental health issues. People have drug addiction issues. I don't want them on probation. I don't. I want to figure out a way to have them do something before the case is over where the state will go, okay. Let me think of some other things that are important. Oh, if you're doing something illegal, and I'm not advocating that you commit crimes, right? But can we stop with the dark tints, the window tints, and the license plates that say, I love the Dolphins, because it obscures, or the tinted, tail lights that get you pulled over, or the loud music, or, your Cheech and Chong joint that you're blowing, you got stuck in your ear and you're blowing smoke out of the car and the cop pulls you over. If you're, I don't know, if you're doing something illegal, maybe you don't go fast, maybe you actually follow the speed limit, you don't blow the stop sign, I don't know. But for those of you that commit crimes, and you know that you're going to commit crimes, save some money, have a legitimate business, and put some money in the bank so you can write a reputable defense attorney a check. That would be a good thing. That would be a good thing. I don't know if you guys know, attorneys cannot take more than, I don't know, I would say $9,500 in cash, right? Because we have to report our cash. So, when the drug dealer comes, and I had this happen a few years ago, he's like, dude, I'm trying to hand you 15 stacks. I can't take 15 stacks, jackass. Because if I take 15 stacks, know the judge, not the law. Yeah, Steve, I don't like that saying. Everybody knows the judge. You know what? Know what's better? Knowing the law and knowing how to tell a story and knowing how to articulate. That's way better than knowing the judge. I know every judge. You know what they do for me? Squat. You know why? Because if you're a judge and you give me a favorable ruling, the state appeals you. And if you get overturned, you look like a jackass. And the judges don't want to be overturned, right? Unless they made a simple, honest mistake. They don't want to be dealing with corruption. No one's going to give up their pension and their nice fat check that they get as being a judge to help out an attorney that's their best friend or who they go fishing with. That's just the reality. That's a fallacy. Well, maybe in some corrupt places, maybe it's not, but in my humble mind of trying to do things the right way, that's why I take cases all over the state of Florida, because if I have to file a motion, if I have to argue before the court, if I have to go to a trial, I have to have the confidence of doing that. And if I get comfortable just handling cases in Palm Beach, or for many years I mostly just handled Broward, it's not good. I got to go to places where I'm in hostile territory and fight the battle. People that don't go, oh, hey Raj, hey, what's going on? I need the occasional difficult prosecutor that goes, yeah, I read everything that you sent me in an email, but I'm going to ignore you, or I just think you're totally wrong. Then my competitive spirit gets fired up, and I go file my motion, and I find out, hey, am I right or am I wrong? So I just did a video not too long ago, and they were like, why are you celebrating? Well, because I filed a motion to suppress after I went to the prosecutor, and after the supervisor said, no, we just disagree. We think you're totally wrong. And then the judge was like, are you guys kidding? Mr. Foley, your motion's granted. Have a good day. See you. Click. And got up and walked off the bench. I'd rather be right than wrong, and I'd rather be right than, doing something unethical or claiming to know a judge that I don't know. Honestly, I could be in City Place where I see judges all the time and walk right past the judge and not recognize them. I don't know why, but something about when they take the black robe off, they're almost unrecognizable to me. Or sometimes in my mind, I'll be like, wait, I know that's a judge, but which judge is it? Because I know so many judges. I don't know, I probably know 200 judges that I've been in front of, and I don't know, I just not good with it. I've had judges, prosecutors walk by me and go, hey, Foley, I go, oh, hey, good to see you, sir. Because I can't remember their friggin' names. So, yeah, I don't know the judges. I treat all the judges with respect, and I hope that they follow the law, and it's my job to educate them with case law. So, anyway, other tips. If you have an argument with your husband or wife or partner or brother or sister, don't call the police. Because when the police come on domestic, you know, that unwritten rule of if we show up on a domestic, someone's going to jail. That happens a lot. So you may not want to call the police. Look, if you're a legitimate victim, your other half is doing wrong and literally harming you and hitting you, yeah. If someone's hurt your feelings, let's not call the police for that. It's a waste of time. Let's not smoke blunts in public. I don't know. There's so many things. I just think of all the things like the secrets of the courthouse. The secrets of the courthouse is that most of the lawyers, prosecutors, and judges have some of the very same problems that you guys have. I mean, that's the reality. There's lawyers with addictions. Oh, that's another thing. Look up, okay, when you're in the clerk of court website, check your attorney and see if he's ever been arrested. You'd be surprised at how many times I'm in line, like for a case, and all of a sudden, I'm like, wait, what? And there's an attorney that's got a cocaine charge or some, a methamphetamine charge. No shit, folks. A DUI, a BUI, a domestic. Don't think that lawyers don't get arrested, but you might kind of want to know that when you're researching your lawyer about their criminal history, and kind of important. What else could I tell you? Oh, do not be late to court. If your court is set at 8:30, I highly recommend you be at the courthouse at 8 o'clock. If it's at 10 o'clock, be there at 9:30. 1 o'clock, be there at 12:30. Be early, don't be late. Clients sometimes refuse to pay once you win. Can you please? Oh, dude, you don't even know. I got this one guy. You guys are gonna laugh. I got gypped, and my friend, a friend of mine, John, who's Mexican, he told me, he goes, Raj, he's like, if you don't go after them and get them to pay, they're never gonna pay. So this guy called me, and he was charged with a domestic violence case. I do pretty well with domestic violence cases. I'm not advocating for that, but there's a he said, she said component to it. And the guy's like, look, I don't have money, and I don't have a lot of money, and this and that. And the charge that he had was a case that I normally charged like $7,500 for, right? But the guy didn't have a lot of money. I felt bad for him. I grew up with no money. I understand what it's like to. I really do. So instead of $7,500, I'll handle the case. And he's like, all I can give you, I think he gave me like $800 down. So he gives me $800 down, and I go right to work. I don't procrastinate, folks. I'm that prior New Yorker. You hire me today, I'm starting today. That's my personality. So I get started on this case, and it takes me, I don't know, about a week or two before I talk to the prosecutor. And I convinced the prosecutor to drop the charges, right? So the felony domestic violence case goes away. And I'm thinking, well, this guy's he's got a payment every 2 weeks, right? So I don't get a paycheck. I don't get paid for 2 weeks. I wait another week or two because I know the guy's struggling. So 2 more weeks go by, and I call the guy. And my Spanish isn't the best. Yo puedo hablar español, pero no es buenísimo. Soy un gringo. Yo aprendí en México y yo hablo con muchas mujeres y los taxistas. Okay, my Spanish isn't great. It's been a while since I lived in Mexico, right? But I can communicate. And I say to him, hey man, like, I haven't had your payment. He's like, I don't need a lawyer. I go, what do you mean? But this is in Spanish. No necesito un abogado, porque yo no tengo un caso. Mi caso se fue. And I'm like, yeah, no shit, your case Safeway, it went away. I was working on your case and I got your case dismissed. And he's like, yeah, I don't need a lawyer. My case is already dismissed. Guys, if you can imagine how angry I got and my fists start, like I'm telling you the story, my fists are balling up. I'm a regular person, right? A contract means something. I haven't had the time, right? So I asked my receptionist, Izzy, to give him a call. She's talking to him and she's like, listen, your case went away. Mr. Foley went out of his way. He gave you a discounted price. He understands your economic situation, but you still got to pay the payments. Click. Now, what's my first thought coming from New York? I wish I could call my boys up from high school and everyone could go over there. No, I'm an attorney. But that thought, it's like for a second, you're like, oh, I want to punch him in the face, right? I talk to an attorney that I know. I don't know if he does collections, but if you know any attorneys that do collections, usually we have to give up like 30% if you're going to go collect. And I don't mean collect like Three Fingers Finale collect, right? Like the mob is coming to your house and you're going to sleep with the fish. I don't mean like that kind. I don't mean Rocky the collector, but I mean, Mr. Collection attorney that files a lawsuit and garnishes wages and stuff like that. I need that because my wife gets mad at me because I go, I try to help people out. Everyone that gets in trouble shouldn't be in trouble. That's the truth, right? Sometimes it's the wrong place. Sometimes they're overcharged, right? People are going through tough times, right? The U.S. is going through tough times. How do you pick a judge? How do you pick a judge? Pick a judge. I don't get to pick a judge. It's a random thing. Anyway, people are going through tough times and sometimes catching a break. You know what? A guy called me this week. And today I went to court. He was homeless. He was struggling. He had no place to live. He'd been in an accident and he had a warrant out for him. I cut my price in half. A family member helped him out and I went and got his case closed. I got the warrant lifted and the case closed today, right? You help people out, right? There's just people in the world that are struggling. I know a player from the University of Alabama where I played football, and he's got ALS. I donated some money over the weekend. There was a dog that's getting an operation. I chipped in $200. Like you got to help your fellow man, right? None of us can do this without the man upstairs. So we have to be cognizant that if you see a fellow human being, especially if you know them and you can help them. I'm not saying loan money randomly and just give. I don't do that. I'll give someone a gift, but I don't loan money. But yeah, it's tough when clients don't pay. And I've had too many cases where because I hustled, my personality is go, 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 let's get this done. If I can go out there and hit a grand slam, let's go out there and hit a grand slam. Sometimes I do it too quick. The case gets dismissed. And I don't know. I mean, I got at least a dozen people that owe me, $1,000 here. I got one guy, I almost want to call out his name, used to work at my building and I helped him out. He's owed me $1,000 for like 10 years. And then I see him online, driving. I just go, oh. I got a kid that I got out of a drug trafficking. He stiffed me 10 years ago on $5,000. You don't forget those things. Like the people that you go out of your way, they're super difficult cases. Drug trafficking, right? You're facing, 30 years in prison and you stiff your lawyer. I had a guy that stiffed me who canceled a check right before the day of trial. We're set for trial and he gives me a bogus check. It's an inside job. Good for you. This guy, he writes a check and he writes it out to cash. And I'm like, do you do cases where there's life sentence, death? I've never done a death penalty case, but I have done probably a few dozen life felony cases. Burglary, batteries, stabbings, shootings. Yeah, I've done a lot of that. I've never done a murder case. They're expensive, and when someone asks, like, how much? And I'm like, dude, a murder case is going to be over 100 grand. I don't know what people think, but yeah, I'm not going into a murder case for $500. A murder case could take a year to 4 years. It's a lot of time, and guess what happens? If you lose, they either get life in prison or they get a death penalty. So I would like to tackle one, but I also am not just going to represent the total bad guy, right? I've done stand your ground cases, and I really enjoy that. So yeah, I've done a lot of life felony cases. Guys, I got a few minutes. If you got some questions, I'm parked now, so I can actually answer a question. If you have a question about, something criminal in Florida, be happy to answer it. As I guzzle my water before I go into the house and have dinner. Well, you see, I'm not that popular. I got to hold 9 people in there. I have got to 7,000 followers. Thank you for that. See if I can get up to 10,000. That would be pretty cool. I'm going to do a video. But another key to success, besides treating the clerks, with positivity, is treating the prosecutors with respect and class. At times, as a defense attorney, you're going to clash, right? They're going to think that the charges are less or the punishment needs to be more. And obviously, I'm advocating for my client. And it can be heated, but you have to treat people with respect. I just looked at it the other day. In law school, do you have to take a class for either side? Do you have to make a case for either side to pass? It's funny. You can do mock trial. I did mock trial in undergraduate, but I did not do mock trial in law school. Mock trial is usually something you do second or third year. I knew there was a girl that I think she won the whole thing. It was pretty good, the kind of person I studied with. But what is your strategy as to jury selection? That's a great question. Oh, great question. Now, I hope no jurors listen, but I want to educate the jury on reasonable doubt. And I use the jury instructions, and I use a hamper or a glass like almost full, but not quite full. But you know what I want from a juror? And I don't always get it because, you don't get to select everybody. I want someone who has a 3rd grade education, because I can convince them that I'm a midget and that I'm Asian. Like, what? Yes, because I'm 6'4", guys, weigh 260 pounds. My wife's Asian. I go, I'm Asian. And I'm a midget. And they believe me. That's what I want as a jury. What is a jury? I get a mix of the community. The prosecutors love to find people that love the police and believe the police over, your standard witness. And I want someone who's fair and impartial, and we all say that. But no, I really want someone who goes, damn, that guy Foley's good looking. Oh, I gotta go for that guy. The cops just overcharged. That's what I want, right? Like, come on. I want fair and impartial, and I work hard. No, I don't. I want to be like, hey man, high five. Yeah, the cops blew this one. This investigation sucked. They didn't do anything. And they go, what he said. That's exactly what I want as a jury, right? I want the witnesses that are for the prosecution, for them to go, man, that boy's lying. Man, you heard that cross-exam. You heard what Foley asked him. He couldn't come up with nothing. That's what I want. I want people that believe everything that I say that comes out of my mouth, looks over at my client and just sees like a halo over the top of their head. That's what I want when I pick a jury. I want them to presume that my client is innocent. Presume. And that he's got this this air of invincibility. That's what I want. Next question. I want when I say, hey, hello, juror number 2, your name is, and before I say anything, he goes, not guilty. I go, I'll take him. Like right out of a movie. What I don't want is someone that doesn't investigate to get to the truth, right? If I'm going to a jury trial, that means that it's a he said case to some extent, right? Or that there's some evidence that leads the prosecution to believe that they have the right person and that this is the right penalty, right? And because remember that the prosecution goes first, right? They tell their story and then they do their direct. So what happens is you hear their story first, you hear their witnesses first, and their witnesses like, yeah, Billy pulled out a gun and shot Tony, and Tony wasn't doing anything, right? And then and then you go, oh, shot Tony, right? And then I get up there and I go, you're Billy's brother, right? Like, yes. Billy was attacking Tony, wasn't he? No, it wasn't like that. They were just having an argument. You have to text that again, buddy. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. So you want the jury? I wish I'd do that. When whoever just text, I don't know how to do. I'm not that technically savvy. It popped up, but I didn't get a chance to read it. So text it again, and it'll pop up, and I'll answer your question. So I want people that are jurors that may think something, but they will let the case develop. They will not allow themselves to come to a predetermined judgment just based on some of the facts, because cross-examination is where I win the case. And that's when I get to ask the questions. And they're not always, in an orange jail, Steve G. Devin, why I thought they can wear street clothes. I was on the way. In an orange jail, why I thought. So you don't ever want your client to be in jail clothes. So what we do is we file a motion, and the family is allowed to bring clothes, and obviously they check the clothes, and the jail will allow them to dress in street clothes, and it's usually right before they come in. So we file a motion for that, and then the judge allows clothes, and they have to be, sometimes you might see the person wearing the same thing. So you try to balance it out, switch a tie. I may give my client my tie, take their tie, or bring an extra tie so they have a tie. I've given clients a dress shirt. I've given clients a tie, a jacket even. Did you have an international cases extradition? I've had those too. I had a guy that got stuck in Canada. Oh my goodness, talk about a case. One of the things that you learn in a DUI college, and I was going every other year for a few years at Harvard, we met some people that do international law, and they were from Canada. And I don't know if you guys know this, but if you have a DUI in the past, present, right, you cannot go to Canada. Talk about immigration policies, right? If you have a prior DUI, they don't allow you to come into Canada. Well, this guy wasn't flying to Canada, but he was stopped in Canada. So, you got to go through, I guess, their version of immigration or whatever, however it's done. They stopped him. They held him. He got held in Canada in detention for 90 days. They will not even let you fly through Canada. So if you have a DUI, you have to hire an attorney beforehand to get permission to do it. There is a way to do it, but let's say you or I, the average Joe, we get a DUI and we go, hey, we're going to fly from Florida to New York, New York to Canada, Canada to Tokyo or whatever. Guess what? You're not. That's another thing. I've been getting these calls, crazy calls that Last night, 4 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, every night between 10 o'clock and like 6 a.m. I get phone calls. If they leave a message, that's another thing. People, why don't you leave a message? If you call at 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe it's urgent. You say, hey, I don't know if there's someone available, but I have an urgent situation, da da da. And we call back. The problem is I've had people call and go, hey, I got a parking ticket. I was parked in a handicap. And I'm like, dude, it's 2:30 in the morning. Are you kidding me? Someone needs to, those are kids that, the parents didn't, discipline them as children. And apparently no one ever punched them in the head. Those are the people that call at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning and say, hey, I got a parking ticket. Anyway, any question, guys? Because my AC is working too strong and I got to go have dinner. Random talks. I thank you for following, watch my videos, subscribe, share my videos. And if you have topics that you want, write in and we'll do that. All right, guys, have a great day. God bless you all. Have a wonderful weekend. Hopefully it's not raining too much in South Florida. See you guys. Bye.